Hey, it's your girl Rajette Speaks with Narrative Shifts, where we are redefining and reframing the narratives that go out about us. Thank you so much for just kind of being patient. I know we got started a little bit late. I like to start right on time at 7 o'clock, and we're at 7:07. A few little tech difficulties, but we are here. And I am here on our International Women's Day with a wonderful international representative, although she is stateside. Her name is Takeshia Jefferson. Really excited to have you on the show, Takeshia. Very, very excited about just you gracing this platform, especially given all that has been going on lately, both in terms of social justice and in terms of just your work and your expressions through that. Really just wanted to highlight you today. So tell the people who you are. Give me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I will repeat my name. My name is Takeshia Jefferson. I am a fine art photographer. I started shooting when I was 9. So, right. I ended up joining the military. And from there, my understanding of the camera kind of shifted a little bit to becoming professional. Right. So I'm married. I actually ended up getting out of the military. I had a photography business for a little while. Right.
Okay.
But then it was Jefferson Photography. So it was me and the husband. We did weddings. And actually, funny story, really quick. My first wedding, I gave birth 2 days before the wedding.
What?
So I'm in the hospital, and I'm like, you just let me out for a second so I can go shoot it? I was really excited about shooting this wedding, but my husband ended up shooting the whole wedding for me. But I was so new. And so I want to say I hadn't joined Facebook quite yet. Okay. It wasn't a thing. This is like 99.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Right. 99, 90. Yeah, 99, 98. Well, long story short, I took a break. I had the kids, and I didn't think I could do both.
Sure.
I did not think I could be mom and a photographer. It was just not that balance of being able to do both. And I actually missed out on some awesome pictures, I believe. Right. So took a break, and then I went back to school for a little bit before we moved overseas and really started to kind of get back into my love. It was natural. You pick the camera up. When you have a passion for something, it will find you, right?
Yeah, true.
Even if you kind of run away from it, it'll find its way back to you. So I started shooting again. It is definitely, like, I call it art therapy. It is a love. It's healing for me. So I started shooting, and I haven't stopped. So my business, even though I had a business in the late 90s, I stopped coming early 2000s, and I started back probably around 2009, 2010.
Okay. Now, I heard you say that you moved overseas. Where were you living at the time?
In Turkey. So we were stationed in Texas, and then we got orders to go to Turkey. I was like, where? What? Okay. I'm moving where? So we lived in Turkey from 2005 to 2007. Oddly enough, I was not allowed to photograph professionally while I was there. He liked those finger quotes, right? So legally on base, there could only be one photographer. And that photographer had the contract. And so when the contract ended, I only had 3 months left on base. Okay. So where I was able to shoot, I could not shoot as a profession. It could only be a hobby, which was kind of sad.
Yeah. Okay.
It was so funny because when we got back to the States, all of my friends that I met while in Turkey, and they started to see my work, they're like, "Are you for real, sis? Really? You were there the whole time?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, they wouldn't let me."
Now, were you able to shoot from a hobby standpoint? Like, did you
100%, 100%. Yes.
So you were capturing quite a bit then.
Correct. So definitely shooting, loving it. I just couldn't do it to bring in money.
Got you.
So, which matters.
What other type of artistic expressions do you do? Because so for the audience, guys, and I really hyped up the hometown today. Romulus chime in. Okay, Romtown, that's what we affectionately call it. Most of us know you, obviously, those who grew up with you. I remember my first introduction to you was as a student. We're the same class of 95. But you were a bass player. And I remember being like, yo, who just joined the jazz band? Like, it's this female bassist, which in the 90s, You didn't see a whole lot, right?
Can I tell you how I ended up on the bass
Can
though?
you please? Because I've always been curious about this story and I never asked you, I don't think. And so, yeah, I would love to know how you were playing
So
the bass.
where I am a Rumulite, okay?
Oh,
I,
oh,
listen.
Romulite. We
So
elite.
right, listen.
Let me sit up. Romulite.
I moved to Romulus the summer of my 8th grade year.
Okay.
So some people believe I feel like they have memories of me from like junior high and elementary that did not happen.
Sure.
Okay. I was an Ipsy, so I'm Southside Ipsy girl
Okay.
from born to 8th grade summer, which is another funny story. Ypsilanti's senior 1995 picture, they tagged me in it, like I graduated.
Oh, what?
I was like, yeah, I wasn't there.
Not even
But
the
so while in
education.
Ipsy, I actually played cello in the orchestra.
Okay.
So while playing cello in the orchestra, I get to Romulus first day of school with my cello.
Okay.
Because I was so ready to join y'all orchestra.
Which we did not have. We didn't have it, y'all. We
So
did not
I
have
get to Mr. James.
Yes.
With my cello.
Goats.
He says, we don't. I'm like, can I play it with y'all concert band? Like, I'm just thinking we about to do something. He said, no, ma'am. And so what he offered me was, he said, in 10th grade, you can join jazz band.
Yep.
And you can play the bass guitar. It's the same strings. Now, when I was in orchestra, I played, I did play bass. I played cello, but I played the stand-up bass. So so I played that sometimes for certain songs.
Okay.
So it was kind of a natural progression to come over. The only problem is he made me cut my fingernails off. You was in class a couple times for that. I couldn't wear my
Absolutely.
It was what it was.
Like, that's what it is. So
I still have a bass. I love it. Again, I'm glad that shift happened for me. Definitely. Jazz band was amazing.
Jazz band was amazing. That was my heart. I hated marching band. Most people don't realize this, and because I was playing it, I was first chair most of the time. I hated marching band.
And people flag girl. I loved.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it.
I can't keep my composure with marching bands. My son plays he's has been a part of the Alabama State Marching Band.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know if Natasha gonna come in and say something about that school she went to, but it's
right. Okay. Yeah, I was over it. I begged Mr. James to not be in the marching band, and he said, nope. If you want to be in the jazz band or symphonic band, which were my heart, that was my heart. Like I loved.
You know what? He stuck to his guns.
He did.
So again, I had to wait for 10th grade and went. But you know what? It was amazing because he helped me purchase my first guitar. There was a prior student that had played, and he reached out to that student, and I bought one of that student's old guitars. So he was amazing with that.
Get out of here! I had no idea. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
awesome. And I remember you being new. I remember you being new and kind of working through the fingerings and that kind of thing. But you were rocking out. Yeah, you were rocking out by the end of that year. And so I was like, man, she's like mad talented. Because of course I didn't know your middle school life. I just knew you were new. And so new to the jazz band, and it was just really cool to.
I was so tired of everybody calling me Ike, but we can move on.
We don't even want to give that, and I don't even want to feed that. We gonna.
I'm like, is that all we know? Is that all we know?
Right. That's it. That's all we got. All right. So let's. I know the audience is like, okay, we're over this. Because Romtown is like, yeah, I remember. Oh, Mr. James, I love Mr. James. Everybody else is like, who? I don't care that much. So
we're sitting in the rhythm section. Sorry.
Right. So, I sat in front, like basically in front of Takeshia, like in jazz band. So definitely good stuff. Anyway, so thank you for coming on the show. Really excited about having you here. We're going to be talking about a few things. So right now, God, like guys, Takeshia, I just want to say this. Takeshia is one of, I would say she's probably my artistic mentor, guys. I've got like two people that I highlight like that. Takeshia is one. Mahogany Jones is another. Shout out to Mahogany.
Love.
She's amazing. So hopefully I can get her and a Chick with Beats on the show. That's what I've been like really hoping to do, to highlight, some more women artists. And of course she's a musician and producer and rapper and singer and all the things. But there are two people really who I look to when I think of sort of my artistic mentors. And then I've got like a squad, so to speak, of folks who I check in with occasionally, right? And so that is Takeshia Jefferson. That is Fiat Hollins. Hopefully she's watching, like shout out.
Yes.
Get that energy going, right? I occasionally check in with Rebecca Shelby, right? So these are just, this is all hometown, I love that. Mahogany, I try to check in or at least support, and she knows that. Because obviously as an artist, you absolutely need people that you can vibe off of, right? Because the bulk of
Necessary.
yeah, and the bulk of society, I believe, are not necessarily in this artistic vein where they get this energy like this. So I know, for instance, with you, Takeshia's someone, guys, like anybody in this camp, my art squad, if Takesha calls me or texts me, usually I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to take it back. As long as I'm available and I have my phone right here, I'm like, you know what? This is T. Let me get this. Right. And that's just kind of the nature of the relationships that I have especially when it comes to the arts, because it is such a unique space. And we motivate each other. I believe one time, gosh, I think it was over the summer when I was working on something. I think I called you maybe, or was like, can I call you? It was like midnight, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I'm like, you got to listen to this song, hear this idea, so this is what we do, guys.
I remember it. Yes. It
Yeah,
was nice.
yeah. This is
nice.
what we do. Yep, this is what we do. So I just want to highlight a few things, because your work has always been really intriguing to me, that I've seen. You definitely do a lot of advocacy and social justice work. And it's just beautiful. It's very unique. And so right now, guys, Takesha is featured on Google Arts and Culture. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to have the link up here. I'm going to try to share the screen. I haven't done that in this space. This is not Zoom, so I don't know. I haven't tried it. But if you just go to Google Arts and Culture and then put Takesha's name behind it, and you're going to see what Google has done. So Takesha, I guess first off, let's talk about that. So before you answer, and I put this in the little blurb, guys, we all have seen this picture of Harry and Meghan, right? Before all the shenanigans, before all the last night and all the things, right? We saw the picture of both of them, in the park, looking gorgeous and wonderful. And, we just kind of have an admiration, for them anyway. But I got a call, early one morning, or I think you posted or texted or something like that. And then we talked early one morning. She's like, look at this. And so I'm like, what am I looking at here? Like, I see a photo of Harry and Meghan.
It had to be a text, because I ain't saying it publicly.
Yeah, right. And I'm just like, okay, like, I love them, but why are you sharing this? Why are you sharing this with me? Right. And so if you want to expound on that, like, how are you connected to that photograph? Like, it's mind blowing to me. Go.
Okay. So I'm on this app called Clubhouse. A lot of people talk about it. Let me just talk about social media. Mm-hmm. Some people can despise it. Some people love it. Some people say it's terrible. I say it's just another extension of Earth. And Earthlings go places, right? So you have to kind of choose on which Earthlings you deal with or you don't, just wherever you are, it's Earth. So I'm on Clubhouse. I joined like December 3rd.
Okay.
And I was in a room with a gentleman. Oh, I should have had it over here. But nevertheless, I was in a room with a guy, and he's talking. He's from the UK. I hear him talking about a few things. I'm in a room with him about 3 times, and we're discussing photography. About a month, early January, probably I think January 6th. I'm in a room with him, and he's kind of in the room, and he's moderating it, but he has 2 young daughters. He has a wife, but he's actually taking care of the daughters that day. So he's in and off this call. So if you can imagine, someone's kind of like paying attention, and they're like, yeah. And he hears me. Now, mind you, all of these times, normally the etiquette for Clubhouse is when someone is speaking, you click their profile, you read their bio, and then you go to their Instagram or Twitter. So this is important to know. That is standard, right? Okay. So my assumption was that he had already saw my work, because he had been in rooms where I was speaking before. But again, looks like that was not the case. January 6th, we're talking. And sometimes when people, I feel like, have given really good nuggets, I always go and DM them and say, thank you so much. Your room was great, blah, 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 whatever. Nice. And so that day I thanked him for the room and told him what, I liked about it. And then he said, my pleasure. He came back. And then 10 minutes later, I started to get notifications. Now let's talk about the him. His name is Masan Harmon, and he was the first Black photographer to shoot UK Vogue in 104 years, right?
The cover of UK Vogue? The cover.
UK Vogue, yes, and he shot the September issue, right? And it was their advocacy issue.
Oh, wow.
And his words were he's a fanboy. I had to kind of get this word. I kept hearing people say it, so I feel like it's like a UK or and I asked, was it a Nigerian term, because I wasn't sure, because he's Nigerian, but nevertheless, he was like, Takeshia, I'm a fanboy. Like, I love your work. Like, you know, hype him. He'll come in and he's like, you know what? I am her publicist for free. And he
Nice.
comes out and he has been so, like, he has just been entranced with my work, and he advocates for me. So, like, I promise you, I don't ask Masan to do anything. He does it on his own, and it has been so amazing, because when you think about your circle, right? Because to me, I don't look at him as a mentor. I look at him as a part of my tribe. I actually told him we're family, like he's my cousin. But when you have a friend who's willing to sponsor you, to speak on your behalf, to uplift you when you are not present, right? Not because you ask them to, because you see what they're doing. And, you know, for example, I have a friend named Nika. And she told me after she did it, she works for a particular company, and she knew my kids. We used to have a business called Security. It was stickers. You would Security, and you would put the sticker on your food so people wouldn't eat your leftovers, because we have a problem. We have a problem in our house here. Okay. And so the sticker would be like, this is mine, don't eat it, not yours, you know, whatever. And so, long story short, she pitched my business to a corporate agency.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this.
And I mean, but again, this is what your friend does for you. But, you know, when people want to advocate for you, support you. And even though me and Masan were friends, as a person who appreciated my work and saw it and had got to speak to me a few times, he was like, your work needs to be seen. And so he's done. Within 2 days, he had sent me and forwarded my information to people to possibly represent me.
Wow.
That are in London. He's been great. I joke and say that I feel like Masan dedicates like 5 minutes of his day to me. He goes, how can I help Takeshia today?
I love it.
And it made me think, like, where I think that I am a giver, I'm like, well, what else can I do? Can I give 5 minutes a day to someone, to uplift them, to shout them out, to share their stuff in my story, to just uplift them? Because you never know who's going to see the work, right? And so I've had a few awesome people reach out. So Masan is not the only person who has, you know, reached out that's helping me. I definitely have some other amazing people who have amazing resources that are supporting me, which I think is amazing. And this has been interesting, because I was dealing with imposter syndrome, right?
What do you mean?
Okay, so where it's like, well, why me? Like, you know, for me, I can support your work, and I can tell you how much I love your work and how beautiful I think your work is. But for me, it was hard to kind of receive that coming from me, because I'm so used to just my circle, like my Facebook friends and my people I know seeing my work. Okay. But these strangers are giving me accolades that were making me feel uncomfortable, because like after like the second compliment, like I was done.
Let's talk about that. So So you said you were feeling uncomfortable. What is that rooted in? Is that because when I hear discomfort or, you know, feeling uncomfortable, a lot of times that's sort of an internal struggle that we just have with ourselves in these spaces. So talk to me about why you feel uncomfortable.
For me, because again, I've been through it. Listen, I've been through it. So what I believe it was, I was more concerned about other people's comfortability in the room and how they would feel about me getting constant accolades. So I would rather the accolades stop to make other people feel comfortable.
Oh, that's an interesting point. So you were shying away
100%
from your gifts.
Yes.
To make others feel comfortable.
100%. Oh, 100%. I'm like, what if someone's new into the room and all of these people are like, oh my God, I love your work. I love your work. I mean, there were times where it was 5 to 10 minutes of it, and I was so like, oh, I just hope it stops. Because I'm like, what? I was more concerned about the people who I didn't know, who I couldn't hear, and how they felt about the compliments.
How are you feeling now about that?
I'm better. I got to the point and then I didn't even know how to respond, because, you know, I would be in these different artist rooms and it would just happen. It was just, again, it was weird to me.
Okay.
So I learned to just say thank you.
Yep.
It's just a quick thank you. I don't really go into explaining anything else after that. It's a sincere thank you, but I just say thank you, thank you very much, thank you, appreciate it, thank you so much, and then I just leave it at that. That is fine, and then I just let them. I try not to think about the other people who I have no control over and how they feel about me.
Okay.
Because of it. And then I move on. But I was so concerned with that. And it did make me uneasy. Like, I would message the people who thanked to me afterwards to tell them, like, I really did appreciate what you said, but I'm uncomfortable. So I'm taking it. And even Masan in saying very nice things about me before, I go up, and, he'll talk about how he feels about my work. And then he'll go, I know Takeshia's tired of me. He'll say, and it's like that. I'm not tired. I'm definitely not tired. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because what he's doing, I do the same thing. So the crazy thing is, 2 minutes before I'm uncomfortable, I have just spoke life into another artist's work. And like, oh my God, you're phenomenal. I love your work. It's this, it's that, it's this. But I wasn't able to receive it. It's almost like when someone wants to gift you something and you reject it, right? And so I had to learn how to accept the compliment.
Good.
And even not tear it down afterwards. I know that's a whole thing where somebody compliments you, and then you go, oh, well, this is just old, or oh, this is just that. And just being able to say thank you.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, I'm glad that you've gotten to that place. I think it's a space that you're in, and I think it's important, just like Masan has shared, for people to see your work. So I love that he has really become a mentor, in a short period of time, really, right? I mean, how long ago? What are we looking at?
I talked to him in a room a few times in December, and we really started to have more conversations since January. But I don't know if I said he's the person who took the picture of Meghan and Harry.
Exactly.
So he is the person who did the shot. So or the shots, because they released another picture today where they're standing.
Okay. I haven't seen one. Yeah. So that's awesome, guys. So check out Masan Harmon, guys. I'm gonna actually try to share my screen here in this platform. Let's see here if it's gonna let me do it. It's been a minute. Oh gosh, really, in real life? Hold on, guys. I should have tested this beforehand. It's like I've got to go into here and hold on, guys. Give me a second.
I would sing, but I'm under contract.
Just no, don't sing. Don't sing.
I would. I'm under contract. I can't anyway. So.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So I can't sing for free.
I actually can't share this right now, so it's not going to let me because it would shut Google Chrome down.
We don't want to do that.
Because I didn't initiate it earlier. My bad. Okay. But let's see if you can hear the audio. So Masan, guys, he is
what can I say about Takeshia's work? She is a generational talent, an artist whose voice truly needs to be seen to be believed. I hope you enjoy her collection of photographs.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
He say it, and I'm looking at it, guys. I know you can't see it, but check out Google Arts and Culture. This is for everybody. Check out Google Arts and Culture, and then put in Takeshia's name.
Just my first name. Yeah, if you go to Google Arts and Culture, if you just type in Takeshia, it'll pop up.
And you're gonna see Masan here. You're gonna see her work, and so I wish I could do this. Yeah, it's not gonna let me. Sorry, guys, but we will do this another time for sure. I'll definitely post it after the show. We might just do a quick after the show anyway, and then we'll have it up. And that'll be a kind of neat thing to show people. So let's dig into John. So John is chiming in. Remember John Rucker? John Ruck?
Yeah.
So he's chiming in right now.
I've never heard of him. I'm not sure.
Well, you can't say that. Why? He right here shouting. He's right here shouting. Okay. Whatever. It's cool. We're in these. We from the hometown. Like everybody's good. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about you also have your work featured in a few other places. So right now, Takeshia's work is featured in the Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. Some of you know that my work was also featured there. The reason that my work is also featured there is
because it's amazing.
Thank you. She said
You're
because
welcome.
it's amazing. Also because of Takeshia Jefferson. Um, she had a lot of options to pick, folks to be featured in this space.
I had the option to have a solo exhibition just all by myself. That was the option.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So tell the folks what your focus was once they asked you. Go ahead.
So once they asked, they had seen like a virtual computer generated exhibition that I created because COVID. I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
do something. I want to have an exhibition. One of the curators saw it and she was like, I love this. Now, mind you, for full transparency, I interned at the Rosa Parks Museum for 2 years.
Yes.
That is where a lot of advocacy and things also transpired. So while I was there, I really got to know the museum, learn more about Rosa Parks from the Montgomery aspect versus the Michigan aspect of her. And while I was there, I did have a piece in one exhibition that they had. They're just one piece. And so they knew me and they knew my work. But when they saw this collection, they were like, we love it and we want to showcase this. And, when can we make this happen? And so they gave me like a 2-year track of, times that I could select to do the exhibition.
Wow.
But upon talking to one of the people in my tribe, because I was trying to wait till like October, and she was like, oh no, ma'am, we're getting Black History Month, ma'am, we are getting Martin Luther King Day, ma'am, we are getting, she said, we're getting Women's History Month, Endometriosis Awareness Month. Those are the months. No, we're getting, so you're going to do it January. And I said, yes, ma'am. So that's what happened. But so like 2 days after I said yes. So this is my first solo exhibition. I know the space. I know the gallery. I've helped set up, exhibits in there. And it's a large space. And I'm just like, yes, I could put all of my work on these walls and it could be my solo exhibition. That's beautiful. But I could also open the door up for the ladies that I know that are amazing artists to share this space with me. Why not to? That's what I hope to do when I get through a door, to leave it open. It's like, come on in, right? Awesome. And so there was yourself, Tyree Bailey, LaShonda Anthony, and then Erica Dunlap. And so you were the 4 awesome ladies that have your own sections to showcase your work. And I thought it was brilliant. I don't think we always have to do things alone. I do think sometimes you may have to do part of the journey solo and get everything prepared. And once you know it's good, then you can bring the people in. So it's not always as quick, but I think we should be doing things so that we can, help our community, our tribe, our circles.
That's awesome. Did you get any pushback when you pitched this? Because of course they come to you and they're saying, hey, we want you to do a solo exhibition. And so now all of a sudden, a couple of days later, you're like, okay, you know what? Let's create this space a little bit more for some folks. Did you get any pushback?
I thought I was going to. I didn't know. And I knew like if they said no, I mean, I was still going to do the solo. Sure. But I really wanted, to do it where I could support. And so I think I asked the question and then the next day I got a yes. And I was just like, I was so excited. I was like, let's get it. You know what I mean? So it was a really good thing. So
that's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the exhibit? So I know, you have a certain theme and guys, just real quick, before she, obviously had her art featured, I was at home. She sent me a text, and then she kind of sent some of the behind the scenes stuff, which just flipped me out, to be honest, guys. Like I was like, what? Because again, I just think that her skills are so dope. And can you talk a little bit about the piece where you have? Well, I want you to talk about the exhibit, but certainly
the dress.
Yeah, because that one took me out. Like I was like, you are really kind of next level. When I saw your work before the end product, I mean, I was kind of blown away. And that was late summer, I think that happened.
Took me a while to get that done.
Yeah.
So basically the series, this exhibition is called the Veiled Series Revelations. And so revelation means to pull back the veil. And so I had started doing a lot of pieces where you would see, you know, women with veils, physical veils.
Right.
But for this series, I had different types of veil. So when you just define the word veil and what that is, like, you know, a covering, right? And so is it something that is purposely hidden? Is it something that, you know, that you can see? Is it a veil that someone else has placed on you? Those are the things that I want the viewer to kind of have to decipher as they're looking at my pieces. Where I have my artist statement, I really do not go into depth on the actual pieces because I really do want, like I said, the viewer to have their own kind of relationship with my pieces. Like there's some pieces where you're looking at the person and you would believe that maybe they were in their 20s when this person is maybe actually in their 70s, you know. There's one picture where it's called grandmas. It's called grandmas. It is my grandmother and my great grandmother merged together. And the crazy thing is I called them both grandma though. So it was my grandma Margie, or my grandma Margie, and then my grandma Jolene, and that's how I called them by their name. So they lived 4 houses away from each other.
Oh wow!
I saw them all the time.
That's amazing.
You know, my great grandmother didn't pass until I was in my 20s. So, you know, I spent my life, you know, my early life with them. So anyway, those are some of the veils that are there. But I did a piece with a wedding dress. So, you know, dealing with you know, the shootings with law enforcement that were happening across the United States. I felt compelled to put something in the exhibition that kind of spoke to that. And because the word veil was there, I'm like, wedding dress. I have so many wedding dresses that it's just an odd fact. I probably own about 10 to 15 wedding dresses that I use for photo shoots.
Oh wow. Okay.
I get really good deals. Anyway, so I have this wedding dress and I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? So I think about, you know, these child marriages that are forced, right? And I looked at the kind of the wedding dress and I just thought about this like forced union, you know, between people of color and the way these deaths are occurring and these situations unfold. You know, one person that is like near and dear to my heart, most people don't even know his name. His name is John Crawford. And I believe it was in Ohio. I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Ohio. But he was killed by law enforcement in Walmart. He was buying a gun from Walmart.
Yes.
He's in the aisle, and somebody goes, he has a gun.
Yeah.
He's shopping in the store for a gun where they sell them. You know what I'm saying? And so I decided to write the names underneath the lace part of the dress of people who had been murdered by law enforcement. And I promise you, as I began to write, like it just took me months. Like I'd write and then I'd just have to stop because it would just drain me. Sometimes you think, oh, it's just names, but it's not just names. They're people, right? You know, Breonna Taylor's name is on there. There's so many names. And then I'm trying to read their stories, you know, to try to learn who I'm writing about. And so then I went to a local gun range. And I asked for shell casings. And I got a little over 300 shell casings. Wow. And adhered them to the dress where they look like they're like gold design. So from afar, when you look at the dress, you see all these pearls and all like this gold bling, right? But when you get close, you realize the dress is covered in shell casings. And then you see the names at the bottom. And part of that is because some of, you know, there were many veils to this. Some of the people who are murdered will never get married. They're never going to have this veil. They're never going to have this situation. And just kind of just being in this situation, you know what I'm saying? That most times was not by choice, right? Other options could have taken place, you know, right? That are afforded to other people, right? For the most part. But I named it 2 shots to the head, Huey's dead.
Wow.
So I just thought that was, yeah. I have another piece where I have an image of a black man's face kind of in the dark, like coming from like a corner. It almost looks like he's a knight, right? He's covered with the veil. And that one's called I'm a Killer. I'm not a killer. I'm not a killer, but don't push me. It's like from Tupac. I think that's Tupac. but the I'm not a killer, but don't push me just means exactly what that means. You know, don't like you don't. Why do you try me? And so I think that's a testimony. I have another piece. So I was trying to advocate through my pieces. I have 3 pieces that are 3 foot by 8 foot pieces, right? So they're huge, 3 feet in width, 8 feet in height. And one is my mom and her 2 sisters merged together. And it's called Till They Bury Me. But the girl, she's here and her eye line's up. And when I'm saying Till They Bury Me, it's like, you're not going to get me to bow down. You're not going to get me to hold my head. I'm going to hold my head up until you bury me. Wow. And so again, it's a continuation of a story as you kind of look through the pieces. And if you read the names and you kind of start to look at the image, like that whole testimony of the subject should, you know, be there to the viewer if they open themselves up, you know, to the veil kind of being removed.
Got you. So your inspiration then for this exhibit, for the theme, was it primarily rooted? Was that you? That's all you? You see the fact? Is something? What's wrong? Is something on fire? Is it?
They gonna handle it.
It's okay. Look, I'm fine.
It's because I'm hot. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried, guys. Look, we live and work at home, and shows are at home. Look, if Jimmy Kimmel and all the rest of them can do this like this, and babies running across the front in the beginning of COVID, I'm here.
That beep goes off every time money deposits in my account.
Hey, let's go!
Hallelujah!
You just gonna make up some stuff, but that's all right.
Don't hate, please. If you hear it again, that's more money. Cha-ching.
Love it. So your inspiration for Revelation, the pulling back of the veil, like the Revelations exhibition, would you say then that it is solely rooted in social justice and equity?
I mean, I feel like there's a way to kind of wrap yourself into that. I mean, because I think everything that I was pushing is that the Veiled series. And my series before that was The Birthright, was me kind of showcasing my family. So everyone that you see in that particular series is related to me, right?
Yes.
And so yes, that is one of the pieces. I see you working.
Yes, I'm trying to work it out. I had to change the browser.
So, but everybody's related to me, and so I wanted to showcase and honor my family, right? Yeah. And so in doing that. Because there's just so many ways that I feel like other people kind of take the narrative on how they tell our story, right? And I wanted to kind of take control of that narrative and how I showcased us in imagery, in art that would be there and be seen. You know, I'm very purposeful in wanting young children to come in and see these images, you know, of all races, right? To come in and see the way that we're portrayed. I don't want people to have us stuck in one frame, right? We have a full story, a before and an after and a middle. And so that's basically what I was working on.
I love that. That is such a wonderful accomplishment also. I am going to share the screen. I don't know that it allows me to move it and be interactive when I do that with the app that you have here, but I am going to, let me see which piece I want to kind of highlight here, just so the audience can kind of see your work. So let's see. Yeah, here's the bullet casings. I'm gonna go ahead and share this screen.
No worries. But again, I was really excited about the exhibition. It goes to April 2nd. So it's been let me tell y'all, all the framing and the other things that I was not aware of. So anybody aspiring to do, that is 2 shots to the head. Huey's dead.
Wow. And so guys, these little, I can't zoom in from this screen, but I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah, no, it doesn't let me. What you see here, these little, what look like little just marks, those are the bullet casings, guys. And then what is even more bananas about this is underneath it. I don't know if you can quite make it out, but that's where she has the names.
It looks like a pattern. It's almost so crazy the way I'm looking at it. It looks like a pattern, but those are the names all the way on the train of the dress. Yes.
And so, guys, before this was, on public display, she shot me just a picture, like a close up of one of them, and I about fell out, y'all, just because I'm like, who thinks like this? First of all, and then with the understanding that you have a whole wedding dress that you're doing this with, like it was pretty bananas, and I was really excited about what you were going to be accomplishing here. So I think that's great. So kudos to you. Let's get back to a couple of the questions I have here, because our time, we can talk forever, and we do.
No worries.
But I do want to hit a couple of things here. So the reason, so let's talk about Google Arts and Culture. The reason that you are on there, like, how did you get put on there?
Oh my God. So first of all, I didn't even know. I got Masai messaged me, and he basically shortlisted 6 photographers in the U.S. He picked 6 Black photographers in the United States of America. And little old me was one of them.
Wow.
Y'all.
That is a huge accomplishment.
I was like, we're playing. Like 6. There were 2 females. Gianna was one. Dorsey. There's me. There's Dallas Logan. There's Sean. There's Chris.
Okay.
And I feel like there's one other person that I'm forgetting. And I know it's not Sammy, so I don't want to say the name. I feel terrible. But there's so many of us. The bad thing is, this photography space is so, some people think it's small, but once you start to meet and connect, there's so many names of so many awesome photographers and artists. When you talk about earlier surrounding yourself with artists, I'm surrounded with so many right now. There's this one guy, his name's Pinard, totally, I'll share his stuff in my story tonight. He does collage work, which is crazy. He takes old comic books and creates masterpieces out of it. Like, he would take a comic book and then create, like, the Black Panther. He would create, Wonder Woman out of ripped up pieces of comic books.
Awesome. Love that.
He did a whole, like, Last Supper type tribute with other people in it with, I'm just, I'll be like, okay, that's yours. That's your gift. That's really amazing.
That's great. I love that. You've also, let me look back in my notes so I don't get this wrong here. Let's talk about this LOBA award. So have you been nominated for this? Or are you?
I was nominated. And so I accepted the nomination a couple days ago. So I haven't talked publicly about it. This is the first time.
Oh, okay.
So I was nominated for the award. It looks like 300 people in the world were nominated. Once you're nominated, 300 photographers were nominated. You have to accept the nomination. So I don't know who's accepting it or not. So you don't have to kind of move forward through the process if you don't want to. I accepted it.
Awesome. Very good.
So what'll happen is we won't find out who the winner is till October. But there will be one winner, but 12 shortlisted. Like, they're gonna have 12 people. Like, this is the 12 that we picked the one from, right? And then there'll be like a traveling exhibition for the main person, and then like a couple pieces from the other 12 will be in that. But I think the person who is awarded it will get like I think it was 40,000 euros, and then
40,000.
$10,000 worth of camera equipment. Well, no, 10,000 euros worth of camera equipment.
That's amazing.
It is. It's gonna force me to jump outside the box a little bit, because I read, y'all gonna see what I come up with. Actually, you won't see, because I can show you. I cannot submit any pictures that I've already taken. I can't really submit anything that's been exhibited. So it means I'm shooting all new stuff. How fun. And I can't do any post-process anything.
Okay. So it's raw. It's raw. It's just, are you shooting it raw, or do you have to shoot as?
I can shoot JPEG, but I can't do anything else to it after that.
Ooh, I love that.
I don't.
So this is stretching you a bit. I love that. So what I'm hearing you say is you can't do a bunch of photo manipulation.
I cannot do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
I'm like,
great.
why am I even here?
Because it stretches you. I love
But
it.
listen, I done
There you
came up
go.
with some. I talked to my art history professor today. I
Good.
told her I have some things that I think I have a way to post process pre. Like I'm gonna do things. I'm gonna do things to my lens
Oh,
that
okay.
I think will allow my picture to do what I want it to do.
Okay. Oh wow. Oh, you
don't know me. They don't know me.
Let me tell y'all something about Takeshia, y'all.
They don't know me.
Y'all, look. So anybody, again, if you've known me for some time, you know I love photography. You know I shoot a little bit here and there, and I used to shoot a lot more. Takeshia is wild, y'all. Like when it comes to creating something out of absolutely nothing or having very bare minimal tools or something,
we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, and she really does. Like I've seen this. I'm like, you did what with what? And the beauty of it, as as the listening audience is understanding right now, she's very generous. And so, I might call T up and say, hey T, what do you think about this? And she's dropping me like resources, or she's like, hey, check this app out, or check this software, check this tool out, and so that's the beauty of it.
There's
right?
enough for all of us. I don't think I understand why people don't think. Like my thing is, if my customer goes to someone else, first of all, my customer can't. I don't shop at one grocery store. I don't.
Love that.
So, and if Trader Joe's want to be mad at Kroger's,
right,
or Walmart, I don't go to Walmart often because it's out of my direction. I go to Michael's. I shop online at other places. I go to multiple stores. So my thing is, if someone is my client, they come to me for what they want from me. And if they go to someone else, that is fine. They're free to do that. Really and good. I think sometimes people want to hold information. I'm like, are you so scared about your gift that you think somebody else is going to take it?
Stop right there.
Do what you do. Do what you do, and what's yours will be yours.
Takeshia, stop.
I will give y'all the recipe to everything I do. If I give you my peach cobbler recipe, what? You still what you gonna do? Make it? Okay, that's cool. But do you want to make it? So you might make it once or twice, right? But then you're gonna be tired and you ain't want to cook, and you're gonna call me to make a peach cobbler. First of all, I do not make a good peach cobbler, so let's just go there. My cousin Tyree do, but that was just what I used for the story. I don't make a bad peach cobbler. I want to put that out there. But my cousin Tyree makes the best one, and I'm not gonna tell y'all her secret ingredient because I know it. I'm not.
So shout out to Tyree Bailey, right?
Yes.
Who is another featured artist.
She'll be sick that I told everybody about her peach cobbler.
It's cool. Look, you told on yourself that you can't rock it, so that's good.
No, what I'm saying is hers is better than mine, and this is the thing, too. You have to know if you came to me for a photo shoot, right?
Yes.
And you want something outside of my ability, I'm not even gonna try to do it. Yeah. If I know someone else here, I'm gonna be like, you know what, Tremaine's amazing. She's in the corner. Now, sometimes my clients are hard-headed. They're like, Keisha, no, I want you. Listen, if I'm telling you, I need you to have someone else shoot this, please believe me. Because again, I'm gonna allow people to move in the space. If I don't have it or I can't do it, there are things that obviously we can create, right? Yeah. And we can kind of work together on a concept. That's fine. But if I really know someone else is better at me and you're going to get a better quality, I would love for you to go patronize them for that.
Can we stop right here? I want to reflect a little bit. No, you're fine. I just want to hit that point because, I like to engage with what you're saying and kind of follow up. So, I feel like a lot of times, I feel like we're getting a little better with this, but generally speaking, a lot of times we are not always so generous with the information. So you did make that point a little bit. I can hear all that clicking, right? Okay. So it's all good. The way my ears are set up, though, I'm gonna need a pause on that. So hold on for a second, please. Thank you. When it comes
to the mic, I don't know what's happening.
It might be the mic, but it's picking it up. But here's the thing, guys. Like, I feel like we're getting a little better with this, but there definitely are people who are not so open to share these things, right? And so you spoke to that, and I really want to kind of highlight that, just as a point of, I guess, reflection for people who are watching. There's enough to go around. You hit it on the head. You go to multiple stores. For the things that you need. I think most people do that, right? You might have a favorite. You might need to get your vegan stuff over here, your almond milk over here, your oat milk over here. That's a shout out because we were talking about oat milk yesterday. Who was I talking about that with? Nakia and I think Shannon. But I really think it's important for us to, in fact, pay it forward. Right now, obviously, there are people who watch us who don't understand paying it forward. Maybe they haven't seen the movie, maybe they don't understand the concept.
Yeah.
But at this point, I feel like there are still people who are just stingy. It doesn't mean you have to give everything and all the things away, right?
You don't have to give everything. No, you really don't have to give
You
everything.
don't.
I think it's important to have some balance in there, right?
Right.
Even when it comes to activism,
Okay.
and even volunteering. So me and my kids had volunteered for 2 summers where we volunteered our entire summers. I'm talking about once school was out till school started, Monday through Saturday. We were there in the morning to the evening. So if we got there at 8 or 9 in the morning, and we were there to 5 or 6.
Wow. Okay.
Monday through Friday. Saturday, we were probably only there to 2 or 3, starting at 9, working with underrepresented youth in Alabama. And so, and I tell people, no, that was the whole summer. So that means Takeshia wasn't working not working for money, because she was working to invest in the local community, So, but on the third summer came, I looked at my kids and was like, because my kids were there volunteering as well. And I'm like, you know what? I need to invest in them this summer, because I can't have them constantly out. I need to show them that they do need to take a break and do self-love, self-care, and work. And so that summer, we only did a 2-week, it was a 1-week camp with the Rosa Parks Museum, the Architects of Change summer camp. So it was a 1-week camp where we got to go to Tuskegee. We went to Birmingham.
Nice.
We did all of the museums, the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, and they learned so much history in a week. And then we had nonviolent training for 2 days from an organization that came out of Georgia, which was really amazing. It was called New Way. So that was to really help, kind of defuse and go through all these things. But again, so instead of an entire summer, we dedicated a week. They did some art projects too. We went and painted, a few homes, but again, it was just about a week's amount of time. But I think it's important to have balance, because you can get overconsumed with anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even with church, you can get overconsumed, and you do have to think, like, if you get to the point to where you're neglecting your family, you're not having time with your kids, you're not talking to your partner, then that's problematic. Even the pastor has to take time for his family. Absolutely. Family first. Get it right.
I want to go ahead and I had just written down family, so I want to keep going with this. So I want to know how you balance it all. So for the listening audience, guys, Takeshia is not just a photographer. Yeah, it's his mic. It's like doing a lot of crackly stuff. I don't know what's going on here. Takeshia has several things that she's doing. So obviously she's a photographer. You can do some fine arts, work in terms of, like, you did the body cast and these kinds of things. We are going to talk a little bit about how you're balancing it all. People don't realize that a lot of your work, especially what's featured in the Rosa Parks Museum, you do a lot where you engage with family. And I think that was one of the most intriguing things that I recognized early on in your work, is that, you were shooting your daughters, you were shooting your son. Guys, she has a really fun family. So it's a matter, like, they're just a bunch of creatives. And so it's kind of bananas. It's so intriguing and cool to, guys, hold on. Because this sound is driving me nuts. I'm not going to be able to.
I saw you working through it. I see you try.
Can you hear it or no?
Guys, I can hear it a little bit. I can hear it a little bit, but.
Okay. If you guys are watching, I know John is in here, guys. Do you hear that crackling effect? Because I feel like we need to pause this, and some of y'all gonna be like, "Oh, it's too long. We're gonna jump off anyway." But we're gonna talk. Let me know in the chat.
It sounds like a little static that's happening, but it's normally like when you're talking, it starts.
You're right. Let me unplug this mic and see if that helps any. Okay. Nope, didn't help it. So here, guys, look, we're going to pause for a second and get the audio worked out. We're coming right back. So just hang tight. Okay, so John says, I can hear you, but it's still cracking. Okay. Don't leave. We coming right back. We just
I'm not going to go nowhere.
Okay, I'm talking about the audience, girl. You can't go anywhere. So I'm going to pause it for a second, or take me out of the stream real quick here. All right. Can you hear me, Takeshia? Okay, she can hear me. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Look at your mic settings here. Takeshia, do me a favor and go to your mic settings. Sorry, guys. I know you're kind of watching this. It's what it is. We're just trying to troubleshoot a little bit. I can't hear you because you're out of the stream right now. So, I mean, unless you want to, hold on, let me bring you back into it and then we can just do this. What was your question? I didn't hear you.
I didn't know if you wanted me to leave and come back.
Yeah, leave and come back. That would be great. If you can X all the way out and just come back in, that would be great. Use the same. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. You guys have to know the way my ears are set up. Anybody who knows this, I cannot be great like this. So we're going to wait for her to come back in. But I just, want to highlight family. So Takeshia has this really incredible family. Her kids are older now, and she has definitely put them in a lot of her work. They also have several small businesses, and they're all kind of artists in their own right. It's really cool to watch them work collectively. So it would benefit you to certainly follow her on social media and in these spaces. Okay, I think we're okay now. I don't hear it so much. Can you say something to Takeshia?
Hello.
Okay, yeah. All right. It's still there. I don't know. We're not gonna be able to do this too much longer because the way my nerves are set up. All right. So was just sharing, about family and just some of the things you do. So how do you balance that?
So at first I didn't do it right. Like I thought I was gonna travel every month, and then I missed one of my children's like school events. This is back when they were in like junior high, elementary, because I didn't know that they had like a concert, and that just broke me. I was like, oh no. So now family time is family time. I will shut this down. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
My kids come first. I tell people, everybody knows that my kids come first.
That's
so awesome. I'm working, and then sometimes I just shut everything down. I'm not answering phones. I'm not answering emails. The weekend is the weekend. If I'm not working on a weekend, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just off.
Good. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you do really have to set time. I try to, me and my kids talk, all of them. We're very engaged with each other. So I think just I have open dialogue with them constantly. Yes. We'll watch. I have a couple series I watch with the different kids. So we have different series that we're watching. That's fun. So I have to wait to watch like the next episode because we're watching it together.
Right. I remember this.
But yeah, no, I think it's having a schedule is important. Plain and simple. Make a schedule, have time, schedule time for your family, schedule time for everything else. You make your hair appointment, your nail appointment, schedule time for your family. People say I shouldn't have to. No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because lock it in and then make sure it happens. Make time for your family, because when they're gone, it's like, oops, I don't want you sitting over there sad, pouting, and you ain't spend no time with because you didn't make no time for them. You miss me. I can't even do it. I'm just like, you have the time right now to make a phone call, to send a message, to people or friends are out. But while we're here, when you talk about giving those flowers now, so I always joke, but I'm serious. When I talk about me not being here anymore, and I told my mom, I've told my kids, I've told my husband, if people didn't break bread with me while I was here, don't come trying to eat at my repast. Don't do it.
Yeah, word.
You can't have no plates.
That's real.
Because I just think it's important. I used to get upset when I was a kid and I would see that. But if I know that these people weren't really engaged, it's like, don't come to say I'm sorry after I'm gone.
Right.
I'm here right now.
That's good.
And so that's what I tell my kids all the time, and so I just think it's important because they're more valuable than that. And I think that's another important piece on why they're in, what I do, but a reflection of showcasing them. There's another photographer named Sally Mann, and a lot of her work was her children. And so it was so crazy when she's a Caucasian photographer, and when I started doing it early on, a lot of people were like, oh, you're a mom tog. I'm like, oh,
a what?
No, a mom tog, because a mom with a camera, a mom photographer.
Oh, got you.
I'm like, no, I'm a photographer, and I don't just, as soon as I tell people, sometimes even now, I'll be in rooms and I'll say, yes, I'm a photographer. My subjects are mainly my children or my family, and they dismiss me immediately. Dismiss me immediately, and then they see my work and they go, oh.
Also, because you have beautiful children. And
I mean, they are right. They regular.
Perfectly like photogenic and just all the wonderfulness.
I
So
think everybody is photogenic. I tell people that all the time. Somebody told me once, I hope they listening too. Because it was like, oh, it must be nice to have cute kids. I'm like, really?
This was a
kids.
Was this a parent? A parent?
Somebody said that to me on Facebook. They did. I ain't gonna say their name.
And I'm not gonna say anything about it. So there's that.
I don't even remember that name. It's funny though, so I couldn't tell you anyway.
It's cool. I love the point that you say, you might need to make a schedule and how important that is and how people sometimes, object to that. But I think that's super important. And, it definitely shows your family. It shows you guys, like the kids, your husband, that balance is there and that you can be present. And that is so important, and I think
the time, make it. You will regret it if you don't, because tomorrow is not, later today is not promised.
That's right.
Later today.
That's right.
And so just making sure, I tell people it kills me sometimes when people say they can't make time for you. And it's like, you ain't got 5 minutes for me.
Right. Whether it's a text, especially in this day and age, because
just give me 5. Give me 5. That's it. Say, how are you? Are you okay?
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So it's a little bit, it's not necessarily talking about family, but it is talking about the schedule. So I know that as an artist, most artists that I know have difficulty keeping or adhering to a schedule because the creativity is just kind of everywhere. We are wired a little differently. And so have you always had sort of this innate ability to schedule things, follow through? Was it difficult? Was this a learned task? There's an author. She's not just an author, and hopefully I can get her on the show too, but shout out to Kristen Roshan, who has written a book. Now it's escaping me. I'm going to go get it.
I have it too. What do you mean?
I got mine right here.
Okay.
It's called the Creative Discipline Project, guys. This right here, this book is amazing. I've started it. Chrissy, I'm not like through it yet. I should be, but
hey, don't snitch. I'm just gonna let Rajette tell her story. When somebody tell their story, that don't mean you have to share yours. That's a nugget for everybody. Let people have their moment. Yes, ma'am. What did you not do?
So I had not done nothing. So here we go. The Creative Discipline Project. This is Chrissy Roshan. And so what I love about this book, and I told her this, I think probably in an IG message or something. I felt like this book was written specifically for me because it deals with the creative, right? Now, there are people who can do things that are creative and they do them well. But when I was beginning, even just the beginning chapter of this book, I was sitting here like, man, it's like, this was written exactly for me. Somebody who has a lot of ideas and things that come up, and I want to explore those things. I'm still this very creative person. So a lot of people watching right now, definitely childhood friends who knew me in that creative space, even back then, who can attest to this. But sometimes, you get distracted, right? Or I'm like, ooh, on to the next. And, I don't subscribe to astrology a whole lot at all, really, other than just, look, I believe.
What's your sign?
I'm a Gemini, and so right, and usually I get the y'all crazy or what
my mom's a Gemini. So
everybody puts us in these crazy boxes,
and
right?
Andre.
And Izzy, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But again, I'm not gonna have a whole lot of conversation about it. Obviously, I'm not knocking anybody who is on that train, but like for me, there are some very specific just characteristics, I believe, that align fully with how I roll, right? Except some of the crazy stuff people
understood. You just rebuked that part. That's not everybody.
Yeah, that's not, right. But in terms of, the creativity, the kind of bouncing from thing to thing, let's just look, it's who I am. I've accepted that. I've embraced that. I'm good for it. I want to know with you, how are you able, were you always just able to be creative and be compartmentalized and follow through? I know I've struggled with this, and so I need a full team.
Okay, so what had happened was when I was in high school. Well, actually, two things happened. I ran up the phone bill, okay, because they were called zone calls back in the day.
Oh right,
where you dial just 7 numbers, no area code.
Yeah, right.
Right.
What?
Girl, I was talking on the phone, talking. And my mom was like, "You gonna pay this phone bill?" So I had to make rabbits, and I had to put lace on them and little pearls. I went to Gibraltar Trade Center and got all these plush rabbits, and I decorated. Girl, I was selling them at school. You don't even probably remember. I had bags. Does anybody want a rabbit like this? I was selling them for $10, $15, and I burnt my fingers so much with them glue sticks. But the creative in me started with having to build all of these rabbits because I ran up the phone bill. And Mom was like, "Look at me, I poured into you." And so no, I just always, after that, just that creative piece in me and building was there, the interest to do it. As far as, well, I had a time period because I had to get the bill paid. Sure. But now I'm really strict on time. Like I
guess I'm asking you how were you always able to manage it well?
Yes. Okay. I'd say now the balance of, I think I told you, like initially, the reason I didn't do it for years, where I stopped doing the photography, I didn't think I could do this with the kids. But once I literally created a schedule on when I could work, and making time for it. When you talked about a little while ago, you were talking about all of those different thoughts that kind of come through. So, I write as well. And so I have a book. It's like a sketchbook. It's 122 pages. And every time I have a new concept or a new theme for a story, I have a table of contents that I made in the front. I jot down the title if I have it. And then I go to the page and I write down all of the notes that I have. So I have a book that has all of my thoughts.
Awesome. Good.
It organized, right?
Okay.
Which helps, because being able to go back and find that thing that I'm working on. So, maybe I have 40 or 50 stories in my head. They're all laid out there where I have notes. And then I have another story where I have a binder specifically just for that story where I have my notes. But it does help. I think part of it is scheduling. People go to work. You go to work on time. When you work for your job, you pay your bills on the day your bills need to be paid. Like even if you want to be a hobbyist at the craft that you want to do, schedule time. Find a day where you have an hour, right? Or whatever, and kind of try to dedicate that hour to it. Then this is what I do full time. I don't do, art, the art world is what I do. So it's me kind of balancing. So I have the ability to maybe do stuff with my kids during the day, which I did. When I say family first, if they needed me to come to school to pick them up, if they needed me to volunteer, I was there. And then I would do my editing and things at night.
Okay.
So I would kind of, flip flop my day. Now, my youngest is a junior in high school. Right. My other, are in college. So I have the ability to be very flexible with myself. I did a Zoom call today in the car driving.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't looking at them.
Okay.
But I had a meeting and I was like, I had to go, grab the kids from work. So I'm like, this is what it is.
It is what it is. I love that. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I heard you say that you're a writer. And of course, I know this about you. You've got a few things. So one thing, guys, and we're not going to be before you too much longer. Probably give us about 15 more minutes here. We started a little late tonight. One of the things that I remember from several years ago, you started along with Fiat. Was there another writer also? Another author?
Is JR still here? Is he still watching?
Right, you still there?
He was one of the original readers. So it was back in 2005. Okay. I love soap operas, right? And so I'm in Turkey, where they didn't have all of the American soap operas. We only had one TV station, and on that TV station was All My Children and As the World Turns, and like another one on the same channel. Okay. And so I'm like, I want to write something that's like a Friday soap opera. Like, Fridays always were cliffhangers, right? I want something like that where people could read it at work during their lunch, and it's 1 or 2 pages, and it just captivated them, right? So I started it by myself initially. Okay. I want to say I got to episode like 10 to 15, somewhere in there, and I reached out to one of my best friends, Keisha Williams. And I'm like, Keisha, let's do this. And so then Keisha started writing with me. Long backstory, me and Keisha in creative writing in high school did our assignments together. We went and talked to,
Oh,
what is the teacher's name? I can't think of it right now.
Was it Bass that you had?
Bass, yeah, we went to Mr. Bass and asked him if we could turn in all our assignments together. So if the assignment was a 5-page paper, me and Keisha would turn in a 10-page.
Oh, get out of here.
We wrote together.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah. So we have a baby story.
For Bass. That's what's up. Great.
So we had a story that the Michelangelo virus killed. A story that we wrote was called Maybe Blood is Thicker Than Water. That almost stopped me from ever writing again because we lost it. It was encrypted. The virus has killed our story. That's a whole nother oof.
Yeah.
But no. Oh, I don't forgot where I was. Lord.
So you started writing. I was asking about Anderson.
Oh, Anderson Place. So then there was Keisha. Then Keisha told me that Fiat wrote. So then Fiat came in. And then my cousin Tyree, I talked to her, and then she wrote. So it ended up being us 4.
Awesome.
And we were writing, let me tell you, it's online if you look for it. It's there. And we wrote, I want to say about 215 to 238 episodes.
That's crazy.
And that was starting in 2005. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. It's a story.
You know what I love about it is that you did it before everything was trendy. So like right now, there's a ton of blogs and bloggers and, these online spaces for sort of these shorts, right? Like these short stories and this kind of thing. And I remember you guys starting this and being just kind of blown away. Also a little like, what are you doing?
I used to send it. My first 6 readers would get an email.
So you had it on a subscription type.
I would just send them. Yeah, I did. Girl, it was just Yahoo Mail.
And that was
I typed their email in. My mother-in-law was one of my readers. Lanisha, I would just send it. JR, yes. Yep. That's awesome. I would be like, here y'all go. Boom, boom, boom. They're like, oh, when the next episode coming out? I was like, y'all, it's coming.
That's wild. So you were like MailChimp and all these things before all these.
Made it work, but I loved it because again, for people who were really enthralled with soap operas, that's like 4 hours of your day.
Yeah.
I'm like, what could we do for those people? And we did. And then I don't want to forget Kim. Kim Harmon was amazing. She ended up editing for us towards the end. So she was definitely amazing and a part of the community as well.
I think that's great. Like, that's a wonderful thing, guys. And
mostly Romulus and then a cousin connect. That was all Rhyme-Time.
Yeah, good.
Out there.
Yep, Hometown's got some gems for sure. I appreciate it because I think it shows people that we can work with what we have. And I think more than ever right now, obviously, because we are in the space that we're in this sort of virtual environment, this virtual environment. And obviously some of us are getting ready to sort of return to the workplace and this kind of thing. But one thing that I've been challenged with, a lot of my life, but certainly in these last several months is just, doing what you can with what you have. And I mean, it sounds cliche, but so many of us don't spend time to reflect and sit down and really process like, okay, what do I have? What did God give me? What did he put in me that I can literally start doing today, right?
Yes.
What can I start today with just what I have? It's funny, Kevin on Stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching something he put out yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And I was just, and my cousin tagged me in it. And I was just like, yo, this is so dope. Because he was talking about people starting a podcast, right? And he's just like, look, start the podcast. And he walked back about how he started his podcast with his iPhone, right? And just like a mic, and that's it. And how he didn't have viewers and all this stuff, And so for me, it was certainly encouraging, right? The thing about me though is that I want viewers and stuff, but I don't care. Like, I'm not driven by that. Like, anybody who knows me in any of these conversations that I've had offline with people, hey, you need to maybe drive this more. I got a call last week from a dear friend whom I love and I definitely received that feedback from. But she was just like, okay, try to be a little more funnier in your show. Let's see more of this side. Let's get some of these flyers out ahead of time. And I agree with all of that stuff, all of it. And at the same time, I just know that the content is great content. And I'm specifically strategic about how I'm going to drive it in the future. I've got some ideas about it.
I love that. You have intent and purpose.
Absolutely.
So that I have no, you know what, even with things I don't like, there's this photographer and we studied him in my digital art class. I did not like his body of work. Did not like it at all. But guess what? I knew I was paying for that class, and I was learning about him. I'm like, well, he's something special. They teaching me about him, right?
Yeah.
Didn't like his work, but what I respected about his work, and I had to explain to my classmates, was he was intentional and he had purpose in his work. And I couldn't deny that because he was consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I respected all of that, even though he's the person that takes the picture while you're chewing and your mouth's open. All of the shots that you would normally throw away are the shots that he keeps.
I love that.
He's world renowned for it, and people actually pay him to come to their events to photograph them. And he catches you in the most, and it's like, oh my gosh, no. But again, it's, you know, to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's room for everyone.
What you said was he's consistent, and that's the piece I really want to, you know, pull out. And that, going back to what Kev on stage was talking about, was just like, hey, get out here and then just be consistent. He was like, if you can do 100 episodes, do that. That's what's going to show that you have this content. And how he started out, it was only a few, you know, viewers in this kind of thing. And so it was just really powerful listening to that, obviously encouraging from this side, but it just reminded me yet again, do what you can with what you have. And I'm going to say it, and I will say it until I die, because I believe that all of us have something to contribute to this society, to this world, to the people in our lives, whether it's an immediate circle or a circle that is abroad or whatever it is. Everybody's got people they are, I believe, called to.
Right. No.
And so it's a matter of making sure that you are doing what you need to do in that space. Don't worry about what other people are doing. You know, I can look at all these shows and all the rest of the stuff, and sure, there's wisdom in following certain templates and that. Like, you know, I'm not here dismissing those who have gone before me or anything like that, or, you know, you for that matter, but it's also understanding the uniqueness that you possess, right? The uniqueness that we possess, so that we can carve out certain things in our lane, right? And be in a different space. So I know for me, I know who I have coming on the show, and it's strategic. Right. And so I know that it's going to pull more people. I'm not worried about that piece. Right. Like, it's going to pull people. Right. So really excited about that. Anyway, so I just wanted to stress that consistency, guys. Anything that you're doing, you know, listening audience, do it consistently. That's always the hardest part, right? Like when we work out, we fall off. When we start something, sometimes we don't finish. And like, you know, I have it's probably about a handful of really dear friends who this season, this year, we've talked about finishing. Like that's our it's easy to start something. Right?
Set it in your calendar. Have a reminder pop up. Have something that's going to annoy you and that you have to dismiss. You have to ignore it. So you are purposely ignoring it. You know, where it comes up every day, have it, or whatever. If you need to do it every 3 days, set it on your calendar.
I like
and
that.
Put it 4 times. So it's like you need to do that. You need to work out. So so you are intentionally clicking dismiss and not working out, and you have to deal with that.
Yep. Love that. That's a great comment. So we are wrapping up, but I do want to hit the advocacy aspect of this. Okay, so let's kind of dive. Let's take about 10 more minutes here. So I know that because I know you, you advocate for mental health awareness. You advocate for endometriosis. You or the awareness of it, of what's going on with women.
Right. Look, I like how you switched it up.
Yeah, I was like, you do not advocate. Yeah. But you know, you're an advocate for that. You're an advocate for sexual assault. Yeah, I'm trying to put it right. Sexual assault. And so can we talk a little bit about your advocacy? Because I think this is really important. And gosh, like I think, again, one of the earliest memories I have of you was when we did the domestic violence symposium at Romulus.
95, right?
1995. Guys, you know, we can talk forever. Y'all can, if you gotta go, but you know, but this was such a profound moment for us, because we literally went to a school that was trailblazing in terms of symposia and the content that we were addressing in the symposia. And one of the symposiums that we had was rooted in domestic violence and date rape.
Yes.
And this was profound and it was huge. And Takeshia was part of my group. Do you remember that?
Yes, we worked so well together in that.
We did.
Bobby Parker was in that group.
Yeah, Bobby Parker, man, that was my, Bobby P was my dude.
No, we did amazing. I think for us to just even be the age that we were to be able to. I know Melissa. I can't think of Melissa's name right now. Last name was not Jackson. No, white Melissa.
I knew a couple white Melissas. I don't know
what?
Somebody in the chat. It is.
Anyway, but she was amazing. Anyway, that was so when we did that, because we reenacted a couple date rape scenarios, right? Yeah. We talked about date rape. I mean, we went through just all of know what that was. And for me, so most people don't know, and I talked about it on Facebook a little while ago. Romulus High School had a clinic. Yes. Right. Yes. So we had a clinic where outside citizens could come to the clinic and utilize it for health services. But students, we could walk down the hall.
Oh, your sound went out. Takeshia, say something else. Oh no, it was getting good.
You hear me?
Yes, now I can. Go ahead.
You can hear me? All right. Sorry about that. You can hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
All right. So we had this clinic. And so, you could go there, for whatever you needed. But there was a psychologist there. And they had a group. Well, there was a group, which most people don't know, in 95. There was a group for students who had been sexually assaulted.
Yes.
And students were allowed to come. There was a certain day of the week that the girls that were a part of this group would go to. And I want to say that, let's say there were 10 girls. And so I was one of the girls that got to go. I had to leave band. Mr. James never knew why I would leave band. And so I had a pass. I still have the pass. I had a laminated pass where I was allowed to leave class. Because we had the class where you had class, lunch, and then you came back to class.
Yes.
Well, I didn't come back to class after lunch.
Right. I remember that.
And so that's because on a certain day of the week, that's because I would be in the counseling session. And so we would go and we would talk and, different young ladies would tell their stories. And it was so crazy. I ended up getting friends out of that group, right? And you're meeting people and you're hearing, their stories and what they went through. But that was amazing that Romulus had this space. First of all, my mother didn't even know that I was doing that therapy until years later, because I was able to just walk in and go. Think about that being afforded to teens and young adults.
That's such a
just be able to walk in. It is crazy. But it was so I don't even know how I found out about it. It was crazy, but I'm thankful that I was there. So with that, then with the domestic violence symposium coming up, we actually reenacted one of my assaults.
Oh God.
In
our group?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So I talked to, I can't remember her name, but the woman that was in charge. And so we worked out because I shared my story with her. And then we were able to do that.
Was it Kate or
I think so. Yes. So I just thought it was important, because again, just so many people weren't aware, of, what could happen and how maybe, we gave different kind of scenarios. Was it someone that you didn't know? Was it someone that you did know? Was it someone you had been with before? And I think it's just important to talk about it. I ended up actually, while in Turkey, writing a book with an associate of mine. And we actually had what we called a Princess T. And the T stands for teaching, encouragement, and acknowledgement. And where we talked about the importance of waiting, but we also talked about, well, if you didn't wait, things, but we also talked about sexual assault and awareness, because we felt it was important to talk to young girls about it. Now, again, I always challenge the men to have those conversations with the men, but we did have an amazing experience allowing the girls to know that they could talk to someone. Now me, if I turn that in as a parent, I have 2 sons, and I've told my sons it's not okay to rape someone. Like I said it out loud. It's not okay to sexually harass someone. These are the things you shouldn't do, because I don't feel like some parents are actually sitting down and saying the sentence. No, if she says no, like I'm not super explicit, but I heard someone say it like this. So this is how I say it. If she says no in a downstroke, you need to stop. Right? You need to stop. So I think it's imperative that those conversations should be had, if you have the right to say no. So I spoke and traveled actually around the US for a little while, speaking on that full subject matter, after high school.
Wow.
The book is out.
What's the name of the book? Do we have a name?
The book is The Princess, I believe it's The Princess T. I'll have to,
I
can tell you. It's been a minute. Okay. But no, it's called Why You Should Wait. But again, we talk about sexual assault and things like that in there. And again, like I said, I've continued it, just kind of moving forward. I do believe it's an open conversation, because if you're not talking about it, people think they can't talk about it, right? Just like I think you should be able to talk about sex as well. That's just a whole nother conversation. I think we're too hushed on stuff, and then that's why things happen.
Absolutely agree.
And so from there, I went with just doing my youth mentorship, and working with young adults and underrepresented youth. And I've done that for multiple years. It's been a long time, me and the youth ministry. Okay. And so, again, I think it's imperative that young adults have access to resources. And so when we were talking about just your passions and finding the things that you need to do, I think that would just enlighten people and bring them more, happiness. Even if it's just a bit of time that you can do. If you can't be a full-time photographer, but you love photography, take a camera with you somewhere. If you want to paint, just get some watercolor or, a couple of acrylics. They less than $1. 50, 70 cents at the store. You don't have to get the expensive ones, and just paint. Work on something. Take your time to work on it. There was an artist in my painting class that she would always have one canvas in front of her, and she had a second canvas to the side. And with her scrap paint, when she was done, she was working on a second painting with her scrap paint.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
I was just like, she never wasted paint.
That's great.
Now, her second one would be more abstract, right? But she didn't waste her paint. And I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, that's really good.
But no, I do believe that when they say, when you see something, say something, I believe that it's important for me to stand up for people, even when they are not present. So if someone says something off cuff in my presence, the person that it affects is not there, I'm still going to say something. I think that's important. And that's just me.
I think that's great.
And I would hope that people would do that, on my behalf, if something is said that is not appropriate and I'm not in the room or my people aren't in the room. So
thank you so much for sharing that. Obviously, a very personal topic that you've shared. And so I really appreciate you speaking to that and speaking so authentically and transparently about that. That's not lost on me, how important that is and how sensitive of a topic it is. So thank you so much for sharing.
No worries.
And then lastly, two things. So we've got, let's take 5 more minutes. So I know that, again, you're an advocate for mental health awareness, right? And so you spoke earlier when we were offline about a body cast that you had put together. I would like for you to share a little bit about
there's a piece in the exhibition, and it's called Kay's Song. And so that is dedicated to a friend of mine. Her name was Kaysen. And she took her life 2 summers ago. And when I tell you, this girl was like my heart. She was in my painting class, loved her dearly. When we were volunteering and we were doing some painting, we were with her. Prince was one of her favorite albums. We were in these art houses painting. I did a few exhibits because of her, and she had just had so many challenges, while being here, and was an advocate, very, strong. But, when you deal with, mental health issues, sometimes we can, especially when we internalize them alone, right? And we don't kind of speak out, things happen. So Kaysen did a lot of body cast type work with a lot of tool. And she did hearts. Oh my goodness. I initially was going to make a heart because that is like one of Kaysen's staples. Wasn't my gifting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this body casting tool, because that was one of the last pieces that I was with her that I saw her install. And so one of my daughters, Tyler, laid out. I had no idea how to do it. I just tried to, like when you talked about that creative piece, I was like, this should work. You know, I used some plaster and some rags that you would actually get to wash the car.
Oh, right? Sure. Yeah.
And I got those and I start cutting them, ripping them, and putting them on her. I covered her with a garbage bag, and I created it. And it doesn't look exactly like Casey's, but it definitely is paying tribute. It's close. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to pay tribute to her through her medium, right? And what she did. So I got to appreciate her work by, you know, putting myself in that position to honor her with that piece. I did talk to her mother, to let her know what I was doing, and I had permission. And her mother actually did go and view it. And so I was happy for that. But I think it's important, again, that we talk about it. Yeah. You know, because again, sometimes people do get to the point to where they think they're alone, even in a moment, like, you know, a phone call's missed, or, you know, someone's not there that day. And depending on your mood, you can really take it. I had a conversation with my daughter, probably last week. And I told her, if you're having a bad day and you start calling everybody you know, and nobody's available, I need you not to be mad at them, because you'll start calling 1, 2, like, nobody, I'm going through right now and nobody's available. And you get, that's the day. Those are the days that will break you. And you have to be so prepared for that before, because it seems like that's kind of how the script plays out, right? Yeah. On the worst day, the people you need the most are not available. And so then the question is, are they the people you need the most? So if that self-care, right? Really good. Because if you're, I always tell people, if the person who's always there is you. Now we can get into spiritual, like depending on what people's beliefs are, but I just need people solely to know you're always present. That's right. So you have to kind of prepare here to make sure you're there for you. Be able to reach back, at least drag yourself. I'm not saying you can walk yourself out of situation, but maybe you can crawl yourself out of situation. But you know. I think that's a good stop point. One of the things, first of all, again, you know, thank you for sharing that. What is really important, and I've learned this in therapy, you've just spoken about it in so many words, is that being prepared aspect. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, if you're going through a depression, you're going through something that's really deep, or someone is not present, one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is having, just being prepared for what could happen, right? So to that point of you sharing with your daughters, like, look, if anything's going on, nobody's available, like, you know, you've got to be prepared, right? Going into it with, if this happens, if I'm having a bad day, if I reach out to 6 or 7 people and nobody is responding, then what do I have already in place? Correct. What do I have already in place? Right. That then I can lean on or retreat to. What's the protocol? Right. Yeah. So that I can re-engage in a healthy way when the time comes for that. Pull some affirmations out, like go to it. Have it written down, because sometimes your mind can be a muck, you know? Have something maybe in your phone written down. Have a card. Have something physical in your card that you can pick up and go, all right, like this is it. You know, just to be able to center yourself. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a huge point. It took me a long time to really understand that there are intentional moments of having something that's already there. You know, in therapy, oftentimes you'll hear therapists call it a toolbox, right? It's like, what's in your toolbox right now? Like, what can you reach to? What can you grab? A grounding box, what can help ground you, right? A little bit. Obviously, for those of us who are believers, you know, scriptures or affirmations, you know, these are things that you can reach to. And so I just wanted to share that, because some people just may not know that. And I think you had an excellent point there. So I just, you know, look, we're at how many minutes? Oh goodness. Okay. I don't tell time.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I can't see it.
Girl, it's 8:40.
Yeah, look, whatever. I gotta get up at 5 with these kids anyway. So I just wanna again just thank you so much for just what you have offered on tonight. I think it was really it's really special. Obviously, I'm just grateful for our friendship and sisterhood and
Ditto.
creative sisterhood. Like there's so many dynamics to it, and I'm just so blessed. There are several. How can people reach you if they want to, look at
If they
more?
want to check out my website, they can go to Takeshia. That's what's scrolling on the lovely bottom there. Take TAKEISHAS, Takeshas.com. On Instagram, they can find me at Takeshia Art. So just my first name again, and then ART. I'm thinking most of you know me already.
So knows how far this reaches. This is gonna reach far.
All of the other, well, I want the world knows me.
Check her out. She already there, guys, because her work. Where have you had? We didn't talk about this. Where have you been featured also? So in the international space, where else?
I have been. I had an exhibition in Greece, Rome.
Nice.
Obviously the U.S. I've had Oregon, New Jersey, Maryland.
Okay.
I was in a Smithsonian affiliate,
what?
which was really nice. That was right when the lockdown happened, and I actually placed. It was so crazy because they just barely mentioned it. I made an honorable mention, so I didn't get like first, second, or third. But out of 100, there were 5. 3 were first, second, and third, and then I was an honorable mention, which was really nice.
That's huge. Thank you. And so just, as we're wrapping, guys, obviously this is here. I'll have some stuff I'll post to the site, and in the stories and stuff with more of her work. So you can see it. So if you see me post some photography tonight, is Takeshia's work, highlighting that tonight. And
and then Romulus City Council spotlighted me for the month of February. They did a whole case with my stuff just to shout out the hometown again.
They sure did. It was amazing to see that. I actually told my mom. She was like, "Wait a minute, Takeshia, do I know her?" "Oh yeah, I remember her." It was a whole conversation, but that's great. So I'm glad your work is there. And so then finally, where are you featured right now? Don't you have an exhibition right now that's going on, or what's coming up?
In Detroit. So I have an exhibition at Norwest Gallery. That's NORWEST Gallery. So you'll be able to find it. They have an Instagram, same name website.
Okay.
That exhibition goes through the end of the month. So yes, you can check that out. So that's my local exhibition. I'm working on trying to get in some other places, but most of my pieces are currently in Alabama.
Yes, at the Rosa Parks.
I'm working on 4 more projects right now, so we'll see how that goes.
That is amazing. So you're nonstop. I just saw you post. I think it was yesterday. I was like, "How is she doing, guys?" She was doing a virtual photo shoot with a subject who lives in Alaska.
I did.
Of course you are. Of course you are. How? Of course you are. So just shout out to your subject and just your work, which is still.
And some of this is me here. So this is mine. This is mine.
Hold on. Let's see.
Mine. The other one up there is a Picasso. So that's not mine.
Let's see if I can make it bigger. Hold on. Let's do this. Okay.
So all of these pieces, except for the one up top, that one up there is a Picasso, but the ones down here are me.
That's a legit Picasso?
Why we use an extra word?
I mean, I'm just.
I don't understand your adjective.
Never mind. That's a Picasso up top, and what else now?
You. I
do recognize that. The one beneath it, you did this one. I
did this middle one.
Yeah,
that's me. So I do what do I call them? It's digital art.
Yeah.
But, mixed media. Yes. But I did that. I posted it like probably a year ago when I did it, but this is me printing it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And are you doing a G-clay print? Is that what's happening with your print?
That is on I'm not gonna say the word that I always say, archival paper.
That's right.
I'm gonna tell y'all. I don't know. I'm not telling y'all.
Don't do it. Okay. We only get a couple minutes anyway.
It's okay. Yeah.
Oh man, it's a pleasure having you on the show. Let's get back here. It's a pleasure.
We flipped.
We can put it back. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll play all these games. It is a pleasure having you. So thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions or you have any, you want to reach out to Takeshia any further with some of the things that maybe you have questions about in terms of the arts, or you need to get at me, or maybe something that she said in terms of some of the advocacy, maybe reached you. You know, if you're a sexual assault survivor, or whatever the case may be, like if there's anything you want to communicate with Takeshia, please, by all means, hit me up. I'll get in touch with her. She's here. She's available for that conversation if somebody reaches out to you.
100%.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to wrap here. This is the longest one, guys. Thanks for joining us. There's several people who've actually been on for some time, and I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. For anybody who may catch this on rebroadcast, thank you in advance. Of course, we rebroadcast on Thursdays at 7, and I'll be here live in the chat, just kind of monitoring the chat aspect. Again, I think I have decided that I'm going to take these long shows that you guys are watching in real time and chop them into smaller bite-sized pieces, and kind of making series out of there. Again, everything I'm doing is strategic. It's not just like we out here.
Because you fancy.
You are fancy and stuff. She fancy, huh? So I'm going to definitely do that, and stay tuned because it will be a formal podcast as well. So really excited about it, guys. So have a wonderful evening. Again, Narrative Shifts. Listen, next Monday, it's still in question. We will see. I might be off next Monday. I actually have an appointment that I can't miss. And so it's at 8:00 p.m. next week. So we'll see. I might have my intern, not my intern, but like my partner on here, who may facilitate a show if we choose to go ahead and go live. Otherwise, the options are this. It will either be a pre-recorded or a recorded episode that will be new, or I may be taking tomorrow off, or it may be a replay of something that we've already done. So just know that about next week. Still tune in. Really looking forward to spending that time with you guys. So take care, guys. We appreciate, love you, and I'll see you hopefully next week. And if not, it'll be the week after. So take it easy. Be well in these COVID streets. Bye.